On Tuesday, September 11th, when the Twin Towers in New York were torn down, that was the final judgment of the nations. Catholicism defends a single judgment which will be personal but also admits a superstitious final judgment. The dead will not rise from their graves as many in Catholicism and Protestantism assume. The first letter to the Corinthians explains it. 1 Corinthians 15 verses 44. It is planted a physical body, but is raised a spiritual body. If there is a physical body, there is also a spiritual body. Protestantism has a very extreme conception of the final judgment, which is not real and not adapted to the 21st century. Islam confuses the final judgment with an event that will happen irremediably, the judgment of the living and the dead. This is not the famous judgment, nor the others. Everything hidden and covered up has begun to be revealed as shown in the Gospel of Matthew chapter 10 verse 26. The book of Revelation tells of September 11th in almost every chapter. Likewise, the major and some minor prophets tell what happened on that day in September. Our reading is slow and without diligence to understand what is written. Apocalyptic Rome is New York together with the United States of America. At the same time, Babylon is New York and the beast too. Those who dream that the Catholic Church will collapse are mistaken. The Catholic Church will live for many more centuries. Revelation 18 verses 18. And when they saw the smoke of her burning, they cried out, saying, What city was like this great city? Isaiah 47 verses 8. Now hear this, voluptuous one, enthroned securely, saying in your heart, I and no one else. I shall never be a widow, bereft of my children. Revelation 17 verse 9. This is for the mind that has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, on which the woman sits. The World Trade Center buildings were 7 buildings that were destroyed. Capitalism is sitting there and in the city. Isaiah 21 verses 9. Now behold, here comes a troop of riders, horsemen in pairs. And one said, Fallen, fallen is Babylon, and all the images of her gods are shattered on the ground. Here 2 planes are referenced for New York and 2 for Washington, D.C. The phrase falling is Babylon sums up the event and gives the meaning of the 2 horsemen. Revelation 17 verses 12. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have received no kingdom as yet, but they will receive authority as kings for 1 hour with the beast. The 10 kings are the 10 hijackers, 5 in each plane, and those who destroyed the well-known Twin Towers. In addition, the terrorists only needed about 1 hour to carry out the act of crashing the planes into the towers. The consequence was the collapse of the entire complex of buildings. But God let them agree to carry out the attack because the Lord wanted to judge the city and the nation. Revelation 17 verses 17. For God has put it into their minds to carry out his purpose, and to make them come to an agreement to give their kingdom to the beast until the words of God are accomplished. Revelation 18 verse 20. Rejoice over her, O heaven, O saints and apostles and prophets, for God has given judgment for you against her. Revelation 18 verses 4 and 5. Then I heard another voice from heaven say, Come out of her, my people, so that you will not share in her sins, so that you will not receive any of her plagues. For her sins are piled up to heaven, and God has remembered her crimes. Now, the personal judgment that Catholicism defends occurs at the moment of death when the spirit travels toward the light or the darkness. Protestantism lives in the fantasy of the Church's rapture. For Islam, the judgment is announced in the Surah, where it says, Look at the smoke of 3 branches. The chosen people are the lineage of Abraham, and in truth the ramifications are the Israelites, because God said, In Isaac you will be called descendants. The other branch is Ishmael, because he is the firstborn of the loins. In Catholicism we are firstborn of the promise when God promised a Savior. This is Jesus Christ, who is the firstborn of the dead, and in his resurrection we also become firstborn because we die and are resurrected to a new life. How does this happen? For in the mystery of the Eucharist we die and rise again. Now, the judgment of the living and the dead. The judgment that Catholicism advocates is given at death, so how will the living be judged and why will the dead be judged if they have already been judged? In Islam it says that if you do not fulfill the zakat and the salat, your profession of faith, the fasting and the journey to Mecca, on the day of judgment your face will be melted by fire. Catholicism, on the other hand, has the word hell in several understandings, and one of these is fire. Therefore, both in Islam and in Catholicism, there is implicit a punishment given by fire. When the faith of Catholicism declares that Jesus Christ will judge the living and the dead, the paradoxical concepts that have been presented must be explained. Matthew 24 verse 30, Mark 13 verse 26, Luke 21 verse 27. Then, the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Power and great glory as a phrase is presented in the three evangelists. The catastrophic event humanity is waiting for refers to the last great global earthquake. When the last great earthquake has passed, that glory and power will be manifested on earth. A physical phenomenon brought and handled by God will cover the world. This will be a kind of bright cloud like a light. Then, this bright light will make the wandering spirits shine or burn. For those who burn, these are the ghosts. This will be the second death. Likewise, this will happen with the living as well. The sinners and the living with incarnated demons will burn, and the living believers will shine according to the perfection of their spirit. The wandering spirits that shine will be enveloped in that glorious cloud of light and will be transferred to the next world, which is a spiritual universe. This is explained by the misunderstood rapture of the Church of Protestantism. Those who are gone are the wandering spirits of the dead and have shone in the glory of Jesus Christ. Protestant churches must understand that there is no such thing as a rapture of the church. The wandering spirits of the dead, and those who have shone forth, are those who go away enclosed in the glory of Jesus Christ. And they do not go directly to heaven, but to wherever their perfection in the Spirit has been reached. In the Gospel it says, "In my Father's house there are many mansions." In Islam this is described as the day of rising, when the spirits are visible because of Jesus Christ's glory. Everything exposed is taken mostly but not exactly verbally from the same author's book, September 11th and the Bible. Love and Peace for All. Ricardo del Salvador.